I got 5 billion kill points fighting 1960 on my 2377 account. Let's take a look at what marches I used to achieve this in this crazy KVK. Hey everyone, it's Akina back with another Rise of Kingdoms video. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also join the Discord, which will be in the link below. This KVK was one to remember with an insane amount of records broken. For me personally, as you can see on my current autark, my highest kills on this account was 97 million. This account used to be in 606, and whenever I'm playing in 606, the majority of the time I'm either launching a rally, garrisoning, or leading the field. So therefore my kills aren't usually as high as other players may have. But in this KVK I had free reign to be able to just fight. I didn't really lead that much from the 2377 side. There are plenty of leaders here that were able to do that themselves, which took a lot of pressure off me and gave me an experience in the game which I haven't had since, I don't even know, like 4 years since before I was leading in 606. So my previous record was 97 million. This KVK, if we quickly take a look at the data, so we are just outside of the top 100. I think after fighting had finished, I was around 102, maybe. The total kill points that we managed to get in this KVK was 5.03 billion. That equated to 5.21 million T4 kills and 248 million T5 kills. Now, that is a huge upgrade from my current autark, and I didn't think I'd ever be getting 5 billion in a KVK. So firstly, I want to do a huge shout out to everyone that helped with that, especially Insight. He was invaluable while I was leading over on the 1606 side. So in total, we have 253 million kills, roughly, maybe 254 million. And in this video, we're going to break down what march pairings I used, why I used them, what my loadouts were for each of those marches, and then also the auxiliary skills. Also, a really quick shout out to Bugbear and Rockstats. This is the website that we're currently looking at. I'll put the link in the description below, and also his Discord server. He does tracking for all things rock, titles, fort trackers, all of that jazz. So if you want access to that, head on over to his Discord. So going back to the game, how many resources did I spend to get those kill points? We can see that we spent 80 billion resources in total to get 5 billion kill points versus 1960. Now against any other kingdom, you could probably get 5 billion kill points for a lot less. But being 960, then of course the cost is going to be more. And I know there are some people that have a significant amount more than this in terms of their total spend. And it's not even close. Some of them way into the hundreds of millions of resources spent. You can see it's mostly food versus anything else. Almost 10 billion more food than stone and gold, which you'll understand why when I go through my marches. If we look at the individual board for kill points, we are 104, so just outside the top 100. We weren't able to hold on to it, unfortunately. Not sure why it's showing 101 on the board, but yeah, 1.2 billion score, healing 980 million. Now, I think if it was me playing the account for Kingsland for Zone 6, the healing part would be significantly higher. I think Insight's a better fighter than I am. I still don't think I'm the best field fighter. It's never been my strength, but I had a good experience this KVK. Okay, so let's jump to the March pairings. So when we go to this screen here, these are the marches that I used. The first one is Margaret and Gonzalo. This was my siege march that I used, which probably helped my healing ratio quite significantly. You're never really going to trade too negative with siege. Honestly, I rarely can remember times when I traded negative with my siege. I must have forgotten about it in order to trade negative. But yeah, I understand many people use Gaja, and I am currently working on my Gaja. He's at, let's take a look. I think he's at 5-5-2-1. Yeah, 5-5-2-1. So I have the heads to expertise him. I'm slowly working on him through dailies and events, but I don't plan on using universal sculptures on him. And after seeing how well Margaret did, it's kind of like, why would I do that? Like, I know Gaja is better, but it's not worth putting universal sculptures into. Margaret did a great job. For quicker battles where you don't have as much time to get all your skill cycles off, it's more just about burst damage, repositioning. Then Margaret, I think, is better than Gaja. But when you have rivers and when you have maybe altar fights or long murderable battles, that's when Gaja takes over. And the reports are not even close. You'll see some reports of like 1,000,000 sevs in one report with Gaja. Margaret will never get to that. She doesn't heal enough, and I don't think she deals as much damage long term versus what Gaja will. March number 2, we have Zhu and Herman. Archers were a real issue this KVK, I feel. I know they have 2 march speed skills here, so there's Edwards and there's El Cids, and we'll touch upon that in a minute, which did help. But I still found archers just getting shredded, and I don't know if it was a 960 strategy to purposely target the archer marches. I mean, I hate playing in strategic view personally. I play in just the standard dot mode when I zoom out. But this march tended to get shredded much faster than any of my other ones. And I did use it with gear. It currently doesn't have it because of arc. So I'd expect that to reflect in the kills as well. Third march was my infantry march, or one of the 2 infantry marches that I ran, Ragnar and Scipio. This march ran a full infantry gear set, whereas my other infantry march, Liu Alex, ran a leadership gear set. On this account, I do only have 6 full sets of equipment. I am in this off season building the 7th set so that I can run 7 full marches. But yeah, Liu Alex did really well. Then we have Arthur and William, who, I mean, you may have seen Chadsky's video about this pairing, but even before that came out, I was using this pair, and I think many people were kind of shocked at the results that it was producing. I don't personally have Philip, so William had to do, and that had to do ended up being incredible. The synergy with William's 3rd skill of being able to proc, instant proc from swarming a target of 1500, plus William's nuke on top, it was a match made in heaven, and this march did serious work on the field versus 1960. Now, bear in mind, the equipment is a bit skewed, but still, it did great. March 6, so my final march, and this was Huo and Joan. I mean, it's Huo, isn't it? Huo is always going to be amazing. Joan is the best Cav field commander bar Arthur, so she's going to do great, and the march did do well. Okay, going into the equipment for all of my marches and the armaments. So this is the Arthur set. So Cav is pretty much perfect. There's a reason why Arthur did as well as he did. And then the inscriptions also, 4 specials. Arthur's setup is quality. Moving on to Margaret's set, it is the full engineering set, all 6 pieces. I do run a horn for rage, and then I should also run the ring or the plume, but I currently don't have the materials for it, so I've been having to use the vengeance. And then this is the setup. Unfortunately, you've got a hell of a lot of gold gathering speed on there, but we have a legendary inscription sharpshooter, bloody bolt, ballistics, and line shot. So they're all tailored towards siege. Ballistics and line shots are great for common inscriptions for your siege. I'm sure most people have them. If you don't, yeah, definitely ones to get if you don't have the rares or the legendaries. But yeah, fairly decent set. Then we go on to Huo. This is Huo's setup, mostly special talented apart from the boots and any accessories. Not too many iconic tiers on this one. And then looking at the setup, looking at the armaments, 2 legendary inscriptions, 1 rare, lots of skill damage on this march. We're getting closer and closer to getting Intrepid. This will be via Arch and we'll convert it to Wedge. So then we'll be able to have 3 specials. But we won't get that just yet. Pretty decent all damage. So Woe setup is good. And now, before we go on to the next 3, you'll notice a significant quality drop between the first 3 marches and these 3 marches. Versus 960 marches, and to be honest, versus a lot of 2377 marches, my loadout, my equipment, my armaments are good. I'd say they're fine. But there are many, many stronger players than me on this field. I'd probably consider myself to be very average. Apart from my Cav March, overall very average versus the field. So here we have the infantry set. Pretty standard infantry set. Not much investment has gone into this beyond the boots at level 5. It's got a procced Mora's Web on there. Isn't the best accessory, but because it's procced, I don't really want to get rid of it. And then just standard infantry pieces. The armaments, I mean, they're fine. It's a lot of health. Fit, vitality, hardy is all health. Some march speed, but you can see a lot of my investment, my stones, have not gone into infantry. And then the second infantry march, which is running a leadership set, is running the drums and the horn together for you with the 6-piece leadership set. And then here you can see this is just, it's so average. Robust, march speed, unswerving, smite. I'm currently working on improving this set. And for next off season it should hopefully be better. And this is what I mean by getting Intrepid. Hopefully I can get lucky soon, get that Intrepid, convert it to Cav, convert it to Wedge, and then that march will be closer to being perfect. And then at least I'll have almost 2 perfect marches, not including equipment, from an armament point of view. We then have Zhu, final set of gear. Again, not too much on this set beyond the boots, a few iconic tiers on the legs and the weapon. And then for armaments, it's a bit better than infantry. We have a double inscription for Boiling Blood. Then we have Assertive, Hunter, Focus Fire, 3 very good inscriptions. And then the rest of the stats there. I'm all out of transmutes for, I think, 2 of them. Oh no, just 1, which is a bit annoying. So hopefully you can get lucky and get another Focus Fire, because I don't want to use the stone on this one just yet. The crystal, because they're just crazy rare. So those are the marches that I used. And looking at auxiliary skills for Arthur, this would be different if I had Philip, but because I don't, I used XY, Chandra, and Mina. XY because he's giving attack, he's giving march speed, and when he takes a hit, he can also get out faster with the procced march speed skill. Chandra, many will be familiar with, 20% health and then debuffs on the enemy. This stacks faster when you have the butterfly effect also. And Mina's skill also synergizes very well with Arthur. I did swap between Tamaris' skill and Mina's skill. For the most part, I did have Tamaris on him because her stacks also proc much faster with Arthur, because the butterfly effect is multiplying how often those stacks are actually placed. For Margaret, I used Khan to reduce her rage by 100, which meant she was skilling much more often. Matilda is second. This skill is just cracked. 30% health, 30% defense, 60% stats in total on a march. It's crazy. And then Lohar, because I felt like Margaret would come out of battle quite often and she doesn't heal as much as I would like her to. So Lohar gave her that extra heal, that sustain, to keep staying in the fight for longer. For Huo, we used Mehmed to add to his already high skill damage and attack. Saladin for the extra tankiness because Huo needs it. And then this ridiculous Nevsky skill of 25% more skill damage and 60% more for the secondary commander, which is Joan. For Ragnar, we used Charles Martel, an amazing first infantry skill, 20% defense, 20% health, 20% march speed. Then we have more march speed from Guan Yu, and then also healing leaving battle. And then so it hit harder, we put YSG on him also. For Zhu, we used Edwards, I mean, this skill, again, is one of the broken ones. 30% health, 30% march speed. Incredible. Elcid's skill, 20% defense, 15% march speed. And then Nebu, 15% more damage in total. And then also chance to reduce the rage of the enemy. So again, some quality auxiliary skills there. And finally, onto Liu Che. We had Pyrrhus' first skill, which is immense when you're outside of territory, 20% more normal damage, on top of 10% health and 15% march speed. Sunju's skill is 10% less damage and 10% more health, so making Liu and Alex more tanky. And finally, this Jones skill, which is just nuts for Smite, 25% more normal damage. Looking at how I stack up versus the rest of this KVK, so for power, 90.9%, it's my only A, and you'd think that being almost 100 million power, you'd expect to be at S level. But in this KVK, there's just so many players still at 100 million that it's really nothing special. So I'm ranked A for that. For equipment, I'm only ranked 90, so again, it's not that high. Many people have better equipment than me in this KVK. And then armaments, which is slightly better, 95.6. I guess I've invested more into armaments than I have equipment lately, and that probably shows here. But yeah, that's how I stacked up versus the rest of this KVK. Now we're going to move away from this and go over to the stats page. I've made it into a chart so it's easier to see, and I didn't start tracking until a few hours into the first fight. I forgot to take the screenshots, but we can see the starting kills, the end kills, the kill gain, and then the kill gain for the pair. To get the kill gained by pair, I just doubled the kill gain because I only tracked one commander. To probably no one's surprise, Arthur William is clear at the top. 23.82% of my kills, so a quarter of my kills almost, just came from this march. And you can see that with the equipment, with the armaments, there is a reason why. That set is probably 25% at least better than everything else that I own. Second place was Margaret and Gonzalo. I would expect this march to have been higher if fighting didn't go the way it did. When you are losing, siege are absolutely useless. If your ball is getting pushed back, your siege are getting exposed, there is no point in even bringing a siege march. It's just not worth it. And even when you're winning significantly, your siege also becomes kind of useless. So after that, I think the next best performing march was Liu Alex. Considering this march was run predominantly with leadership gear, I think this is incredible. I know this march will always trade positively, but to outperform Huo and Joan with proper cav equipment goes to show how busted Liu Alex is as a march. And then Zhu Herman at 33 million kills, and finally Ragnar Scipio at 30 million kills. It's a bit disappointing to see Ragnar that low, especially because he ran the infantry set. Something to look into for sure, but that is currently my worst performing march. But there you have it. That's the breakdown of how I got 5 billion kill points versus 1960. And let me tell you, it is not easy. Yeah, the 1960s murder ball is just on another level. But I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Found it interesting to see what marches I used to get that KP versus 960. Leave a comment below. What do you think I should be focusing on next regarding equipment, regarding armaments? I know most of you will probably say my infantry, but it would be good to get your opinions for the next focus on the account. I appreciate all of you for tuning in, for watching the video. Please do smash a like if you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, thank you so much. I'll catch you all in the next video.